Howdy, 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 and welcome, folks. Thank you for joining me here on September the 15th, 2023. We have a great guest here tonight, someone that finally got to meet recently and consider a friend. And, uh, you know, I, the story is so compelling that I don't really know how to describe it, but we're all here to help and support and make sure that the outcome comes out the way that it needs to be. But you guys know how this works. We're going to bring in our old pal from Clearwater, Florida. And Chad, how we doing tonight, brother?
Good, Bo. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. So you got a weather report for us there, son?
Yes, sir. 84 degrees in Clearwater, Florida, Bo. Precip is at 20. Wind is at 5. And Roscoe advises the wind is at 68, Bo.
All righty. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. So, all right, we'll get back with Chad in a little bit here. Let's start rolling on with this. Next guest has been getting very well received within the SPTV community. We know a lot about her story, but the thing is that we can't not keep hearing about it. If we don't, the fight can't continue. The struggle does continue. So without further ado, let's bring in our buddy Liz Farris. How we doing, Liz?
I'm good. How are you today?
Oh, good, good. You know how it is. Everything's busy. It's rush, rush, rush. So
Right.
yeah.
And see, my whole joke was gonna be like I was gonna wear that shirt, but then I got a little nervous that I wouldn't look sexy in it.
Oh,
And we
please.
both can't be sexy today.
Well, you would have been the only one sexy, that's for sure. I'm just an old crusty old man. So I see Miss V is in here to show her support tonight, and I thought I saw Ono Nora was here also. So thank you, folks. Well, Liz, you know what? Best way of doing it is why don't you describe to us, how we came to this point we're at now.
So how we came to the point, well, there's a couple different directions we can go. How we got here was finding out that my dad is potentially alive. And I say potentially only because I haven't personally laid eyes on him. I've been told, oh, I've reviewed the body cam. It's definitely him. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you have, but I don't know who you are.
Right.
You mean nothing to me. And so, hey, I'd really like to see that my dad is actually alive. I did finally draft up the email that I needed to send in to, a particular contact. And so now we're just seeing how it can be maneuvered that I can see the body cam and get all my records for all of the attempts of a welfare check that I've done. So,
I just, I'm finding it more and more surprising the longer that they're trying to hold off on releasing this body cam footage. There's no once they discovered everything was good, they closed their case. There's no reason in the world that they should be able to redact a body cam footage.
Right. Or state that the case is ongoing. Well, how is it ongoing if he's alive? A welfare check ends when you've proven the welfare. So
this is one of those things where we need Jeffrey Augustine digging into the finances of that sheriff's department and those deputies and finding out, just how much money is going to this department and these individuals that are out here doing this job. They're supposed to be serving the public, not the interest of a horrible cult like this. And it doesn't matter how much money that they're giving them. It shouldn't even be there in the first place. They should be serving you, the public, not the interest of that organization. It's just, to me, it's just ridiculous that it would be like that. Have you talked to any attorneys or legal experts on?
I've talked to quite a few. One of them has been giving me some really good advice, primarily because I have two avenues that I can take. One avenue has me basically going after custody, and that was something that I really wanted to do. And then it wasn't until someone had told me, well, not someone, the lawyer just flat out said, hey, by the way, if you don't pay one of his bills, if he's hungry at all, you will go to jail for elderly abuse.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold up. I've got a family. So that I didn't, I kind of knew that, but then it wasn't until someone legal like spit it to me in the most legal terms possible that it suddenly pop went off in my brain. So now the other path is getting the documents
Right.
and making the biggest stink I possibly can so that they will have no choice but to release him to basically get his daughter to shut the fuck up. Sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that. Go right ahead. What I find interesting is the threat of, adult protective services can come after you if he's hungry, but no one's saying it. How old is your father now?
Technically he's about to be 73. He'll be 73 in November.
But no one's saying a word about the fact they got him out there digging ditches along a fence line as a form of abuse.
Right?
So that's
I'm not going to make him dig ditches. I mean, he may have to sit there for a cup of coffee and some breakfast, but
it's so hard on him.
I'm, maybe a couple Polaroids. Well, we don't do Polaroids anymore, but a couple of good digital pictures.
You know how much those cost? My sister-in-law still has a Polaroid camera. So she tasked my wife to find, because my sister-in-law knows nothing about the internet. She tasked my wife with finding her Polaroid film, which of course meant my wife tasked me. So you're there, you're in a relationship, you know how this stuff goes.
Heck no, she doesn't tell. She just tells me what to do, and I go, yes, ma'am.
Yep, honeydew. That's how it goes.
I love my honeydew lists.
So, but we were looking up. I looked up Polaroid film, and getting aftermarket film from China is still like $50 for 8 pictures for a Polaroid. And I'm like, look, hon, you got a smartphone. It's better than a Polaroid. Well, Polaroid's what I know, and that's what I want to use. Well, if you want to pay $50 for 8 pictures, then by all means, you could take 1,000 for free with your phone. So,
what you need to do is tell her, you know what? We can treat your cell phone just like a Polaroid. What I want you to do is take a picture and then just shake it and just stand there and shake it. And then once the picture shows up, you're good.
Well, I mean, honestly, after about 30 minutes of talking to her, I want to give her shaken baby syndrome. So, wouldn't be that hard to switch it to the phone. So tell us about your second gen, correct?
Yes, born in.
So tell us about that, growing up in this cult and what life was like. Now that you're on the outside, you're seeing what free life feels like.
And being around children that have, no clue what I went through. Not
expecting them to be online or in ethics or whatever, children who are free to be children. That's
correct.
So talk to us about that, growing up in that kind of situation and what the effect it had on you.
Well, growing up for me was my mom constantly telling me to get my TRs in, and security constantly reporting me to my mom for climbing trees. I mean, how dare I climb a tree?
Goodness. That you're an old person in a child's body. You should have known.
Right? That. So in the process of all that, I got in trouble all the time for being a kid, or got in trouble just for breathing. Oh, yeah. But now being out, it's one of those situations where you're like, man, I used to bicycle down Hollywood Boulevard. I was 5.
Yeah.
Like, you show me a parent of a 5-year-old that would willingly let their kid ride a bicycle down Hollywood Boulevard just to go hang out with their friends. And I will say that mother doesn't want to really be a mom.
Wow.
Because realistically, no mom in their right mind is going to let a 5 to 6-year-old be by themselves on Hollywood Boulevard.
I can say it's been 30 plus years since I've been in LA. I was in when I was in the Army at 18.
Okay.
And it wasn't a safe place at night going down Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset, any of those. Those weren't safe at night then. And look at how things, have progressed
how they are
at that
now.
point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's just one of those things. Nor would I tell a child to, go make me breakfast. And then I want you to clean up the whole kitchen. And I want you to use a toothbrush in the grout. Make sure there's no food left in there. They should be kids.
Yeah.
They should be playing video games. They should be hanging out with their friends. They should be learning their ABCs. And for God's sakes, learning cursive.
Oh my goodness.
Or, you know what? A manual transmission. Like this
Mhm.
shouldn't be something that we all look at as adults
Right.
and we're like, okay.
Well, I think you've heard the story. I was out one day with my daughter, and we were checking the fluids in her car, and just every once in a while I do it with her just to make sure everything was good. And some of her friends were there with her, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I'm checking my fluids, my oil, my transmission fluid, my windshield washer solvent, my brake fluid, making sure everything's good to go, my power steering fluid." They had no idea what any of it was. And so I said, if you guys bring your cars over, let's do it on a Saturday or something like that. Bring your cars over. I'll teach each and every one of you how to check these fluids in your car yourself so that you can at least maintain it. And then I'll teach you guys how to change your own tire if you get a flat.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday rolls around, and not only is it my daughter's friends that showed up, but some of the fathers showed up because they didn't know how to do these things. And I was amazed, and none of them, not a single one of them, knew how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. All of them.
So astonishing. Like,
well, yeah, that's probably the number one way of stopping your vehicle from being stolen right now is to get one with a manual transmission.
yeah, because they look at it like that is the safety lock of choice.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's sad because I'm hearing from friends. Friend of mine, his son is an LAPD officer, and he was telling me how folks that are renting they're coming in for vacations or whatever and renting cars, they're literally leaving all the windows down, leaving the trunk unlocked because they're worried that they're going to blow out the windows or break the trunk open just so they could try to steal stuff out of it. So it's amazing how things have changed and how dangerous things have become. And we need some kind of turnaround on it. And here you are as a child being thrown out into the middle of this kind of area. How close were you to where the homeless were, where the seedy parts of the town were as connection as to riding your bicycle through that area?
So have you ever been to Pack Base?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of it. So you know what a major city is.
Oh yeah.
So in Los Angeles, where Pack Base is, and Hollywood, you're talking like, V can probably answer this more because when I was a kid, it felt like 3 miles.
Okay.
But as an adult, I'm sure it's, driving in a car is for some reason longer than taking a bicycle, and sometimes walking.
Wow.
But I think it's like, I'm going to guess between 3 to 5 miles. And then it was no big deal for us as kids.
Wow.
And not one of our parents would know, or we would be like, hey, we're going to go ride our bikes. And they would be like, good, you're getting out of our hair for right now. Okay, good. And then we would take off. Like, I am shocked that I wasn't kidnapped, my little blonde hair, blue-eyed self. Like, it just surprises me because I wouldn't even let let's say with the kids, let's say one of them's 17 and goes, you know what? Hey, I want to bicycle 3 miles down Hollywood Boulevard. You good with that? No, sir. No, sir. You'll be getting in my car, sir, and I will be taking you to your destination. The idea that someone can do it at 6 years old, half of the shit we went through blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. And here I was a wild child. I grew up in the country. Literally, it was one of those where mom kicked us out the door in the morning time, and don't come back till the lights come on kind of thing. My daughter, 16 years old, wants to go to her first Pride Fest. And I'm like, no, you're going with me. You're going to an event I've never heard of. I've never been to. I've never seen it before. You're an hour away from home and you're taking your friend. And quite honestly, you can kick his ass. So I'm going with you. And, it's just it's different. I mean, but our families were just like, get out of the door, don't bother me anymore. I've got stuff to take care of. And now, here it is, 20 some years later, we're completely opposite. We're, no, don't you go out that door. Don't you think about doing anything unless I'm there with you.
Yeah.
So, I completely understand that. That's, of course, where you were at was quite a bit more dangerous than where we were.
Yeah, because everybody outside of the blue buildings to us was weird or strange or hold on. Give me just a second.
Okay.
But outside of the blue buildings, everyone was. I always thought that there was something wrong with them, like they were broken. So I know that sounds weird, and I don't mean to put anyone down, but when I was a kid, it was literally like everyone on the outside was broken and gross, and they must be, non-ethical people.
Right.
And we were the only ones that had any ethics whatsoever. And
you hear that from a lot of the former Scientologists, the degraded persons, things like that. I've shown the video where you had the org member who was outside of one of the LA orgs spraying down homeless people with a water hose to get them away from their building. It's that kind of mentality of they're just lesser people than we are. And that's something that Scientology appears to breed throughout everyone that's a member of it. And, I'm not surprised when you hear some of the things like some of the headline news we've gotten in the last few months about what's going on in Scientology. If they're willing to do that to their own people, think about what concern they hold towards anyone who's not in Scientology. So
right,
because it's a completely different mindset.
Because I can guarantee you that at one point in time that maybe one of those homeless people was a Scientologist, and maybe they maxed out all their credit cards. Maybe they lost their home because they were too busy paying for courses. Because let's be honest, they were constantly being told, "What are you out of ethics? Like, are you out of ethics?" And well, then why aren't you buying this course? You purchased this course or this package that you can't afford.
Yeah.
And suddenly you lose your home, you lose your wife, you lose your kids. It's a country song backwards.
Yeah. It's insane. And then hearing about when folks will go to Flag or something like that for a big event or something. And as soon as they walk in the door, they're handed a clipboard and they have all these people that they have to go and see and buy these products from before they're allowed to move on to the next thing. And that's just, to me, I'm beyond everything else. Just when you look at it initially like that, how can it be called a religion when everything that you do, you have to pay for or buy from them?
Right.
It should be free. You're helping the homeless. Get out there and help the homeless. You shouldn't be making people pay for your help.
If they want to call them the religion, we're going to try not to vomit on that one. Here's the thing. If you step into a Christian church, you sit down, you go over, the Proverbs, you go over all of the good stuff. You go, any story or what that topic is that day. You go into a Catholic church, you bow and then you sit down in your spot and then you go over hymns and songs and then you get into the dirt and the nit and gritty. There is a collection booth or a collection option that goes around, but no, they don't say, "Bitch, you can't sit here if you haven't put in at least $1,000. You better dig that out your pocket." But that's how it is in Scientology. You are constantly harassed to buy courses. You're constantly harassed to buy them for your friends or buy books for your friends, your family. Christmas is around the corner. Oh, why haven't you gotten your family the full volume set? It's everything's is a handout. Like, give me your wallet. Give me this. I don't care if you can't afford it. Give me. And at the end of the day, what are you actually getting for it?
Right. Now, how many times can they rewrite the books?
Same book.
Yeah, because they forgot to dot an I or something. Those are the things that kills me. When I went to the Tokyo org, and the first thing that struck me there are several churches near the Tokyo org within that block area there. And you go into those churches, someone welcomes you, it's open, go in, have a seat. If you want to talk to someone who's part of the church, they're there to help you. They're not asking anything of you. I walk into the Tokyo org and it looked just like a retail store that to me, I could have been walking into any kind of, Goldman Sachs, anything like that. It was literally Barnes and Noble is the best way to describe it, because it was nothing but books everywhere, just shelves and shelves of books, a counter, just like you find at a store. And then to throw the salt in the wound a little bit more, they put a little cafe over in the corner so you can go and pay for overpriced cookies and coffee. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, this is supposed to be a church. How is this a church? This is nothing more than the local outlet for the organization. They, completely different mindset on that from what we expect a religious organization to be.
Yeah.
To me, that's crazy. So when did things start falling apart for you in Scientology?
Well, I didn't stop believing until I was in my 40s. So It's only been roughly about 2.5, 3 years for me.
Wow.
When did things go bad for me? When I was in the Sea Org.
Okay.
We had driven up from Los Angeles to Sacramento, and I was basically told that I am to not come back unless I have my mother. And my boss desperately wanted my mother to rejoin the Sea Org.
Oh, okay.
And so I tried every which way from Sunday. I tried crying. I tried begging. Like, I at first went after her, like, and then it turned into like, I don't want to get in trouble. And I still ended up getting in trouble. Like, I went back and I was put on decks in lower conditions. Then turn around and I think I've earned my way back. And I don't call my dad sir. I call him Bob. Well, he was coming to see me as my dad. So why would I call my dad sir? Like, so I got either which way I got in trouble again. And between those two things, getting in trouble within days of each other, I was like, maybe this isn't what I thought it is supposed to be.
Right.
Some time passes, like we're going to say about 8 months passed from there. I'd been on decks a couple more times, but managed to get off quickly. And then all of a sudden, 8 months, it just went hardcore. No matter what I did, I was on decks. No matter what I did, I started in lower conditions. And then before I had to work my way out of one condition, I was right back in the bottom. And then it was just nothing I can do. Oh, this is out ethics. You should do this. You need to go do this. And so then, after being told you're a piece of shit for so long and having to go watch the general's daughter, that devastated me. Like that shit rocked my boat.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to bring up being raped before I joined. Didn't want to bring up that I had a baby. I thought it was nobody's business. But that movie fucked me up.
Okay.
So then the nightmares came back and I tried to tell someone about it. And I was put in lower conditions again for being someone that pulled in the rape. So they said that I'd never worked my way out of that condition. So I needed to go back and write some conditions on it.
As someone who has worked with victims of sexual assault, every time I hear these stories, my skin starts crawling. And the fact that, it's your fault. You brought this on yourself. What did you do that you were out of line with our tech or whatever they want to call it, your out ethics or whatever. The thing is, I can't fathom the thought of treating a victim as though they are the person who did the crime, especially in a situation like that.
See, in those instances, I completely understand, but in the moment when you still believe hardcore,
right?
You're like, okay, you're right. I did do something. I did pull this in. Okay. And then, I'm trying to do my conditions and then I'm going back into sec checks, which is security checks,
right.
Which again is that giant list of questions meant to pull out every overt and withhold that you have in your gallery.
That's
And while I'm sitting there getting sec checked, they then turn the tables onto the rape. And I got to go over that a couple times. And yeah, now I say a couple times because it was a day and a half of going over it and over it and over it. That night I went to bed. Everything felt okay. Like I felt a little better. But really it was that facade of please God, make this stop.
right.
And I woke up from having a nightmare of reliving that moment where I got raped. And then I bolted. I took off from my bed and I'm like, fuck this. I'm not living with barely getting any food, barely talking to anybody, having to watch rape movies. Fuck this. I'm done. And I started sprinting up the stairs to get the top of the stairs. And as soon as I got to the top of the stairs, I opened the door and I went running to the edge. I looked at it mathematically, like, oh, what if I hit that tree? What if I do this? So I went to go run back and security caught up with me.
Wow. And
I was ready.
I don't think a lot of people realize, just how security is there. If you're in
Like
the
a
org,
militia.
you're just basically, you're a prisoner. You're allowed to leave only if you have special reasons and you get permission to do so. And you work like a dog from morning till night or all night long, depending on what they need to do and who has a hair up their butt. So, that's one of the things, even in the military, they didn't do anything like that to us. I mean, basic and the advanced training and all that were specifically designed to break you down emotionally and physically. And when I hear about how folks in the org are worked and the things that they do to them, the conditions and everything that they put them through, it so reminds me of advanced training in the military, where it's specifically training you how to survive in these conditions, how to be a better soldier. The difference is that ended at some point. Once they thought that you either could or could not hack it, it ended. And you went on to your next thing. With you guys, it's a lifetime. It's never ending.
Daily. It will be daily. It will be people that you thought were your friends giving you nasty looks. It'll be, I remember one time something happened and I was told if I got put in lower conditions or decks one more time, they were going to transfer me out of CC Network. I was no longer going to be a floater. They were going to just give me to another org.
Wow.
And I lost it. Like, I'm supposed to be at gold. I ended up in the manor. Now I'm at CC. This is bullshit. I'm supposed to be at gold. And now they're talking about transferring me down.
Wow.
Well, technically across, but still,
right.
It was not where I was supposed to go. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be at gold. And she goes, well, they did request you, but I stopped it. What? And so I started crying. I left her office. I didn't say shit to the motherfucker. I walked past 2 security guards. I walked out the doors and I just started walking down the backside of Celebrity Center. I hit where I used to buy comics at this the
newsstand or whatever.
Like it was a newsstand.
Okay.
They had them all spread out. Walk past there and I'm heading towards, like, I'm going to walk to Capitol Records. Once I hit Capitol Records, then I hang a left and Hollywood's right there and I'm fucking free. Security was following me. I was like, just let me walk. Just let me go for a walk. I need a walk. I just need a walk. Wouldn't let me walk. He was like right up there with me, like, let's go back. Let's go back. Come on, let's go back. And finally I look over and there's this like horrible metal fence. And I'm like, okay, let's G.I. Jane this motherfucker. And I'm climbing it and hopping over fences, hopping over brick walls. Like, no. And before anyone envisions me hurtling over some of these, you just got to get the boobs over. And once you get the boobs over, it's kind of like leverage and you tip yourself.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
I do.
Mine's the belly. So,
But so it was hopped over a couple fences, and then I was so close. Like I could see the stars on the concrete up ahead,
wow.
and I was so close. And he's just like, let's just go back. Why don't we just go back, and you can talk to me there, like, and then security guard or car pulls up, and I'm like, was so close to making it.
What kind of religion does that? Literally tracks down their members and try to force you back. That, to me, that's horrendous. That's Gestapo kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you don't, and in the moment, you don't realize that it's Gestapo stuff.
Right.
Not until you watch Schindler's List do you realize, like, oh my God, that's what I went through.
And that's because that's your normality. That's what you've grown up
common.
with. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that you and you hear it from folks who come from communist Russia, come from the different countries where they're under a totalitarian dictatorship. And when they get to America, they're like, oh, I thought America and American people and American culture was evil. And now that I'm here, I realize that I was actually living in the evil day to day. And
Correct.
this is where the freedom
was my normal.
Yeah. And that's, it's amazing how it's like where the hostages become supportive and caring for their captors. And that's, to me, they're making you codependent upon them to where you feel that you can't exist without what you're doing for them. And you see it's very typical in domestic violence situations.
Yep.
Where, I can't, I've literally probably been to 1,000 domestic violence situations in over 30 years of being a police officer. 90% of them, the victim in the domestic violence situation will refuse to press any charges whatsoever. Sometimes they'll allow the arrest to occur just so the beating stops for the night. But most of them, they don't know how to live their life without that other person there. And
correct. Good or bad.
Tried with every one of them. If you don't get out of this, it's going to be worse. Man, I can't tell you how many I know that actually ended up with that offender taking the life of the victim, because it just keeps growing. It's just a mountain of anger and abuse. And, unless you can actually get in there and put a real stop to it, it's only going to end in one way. So it's sad stuff. And folks, Goldie put a link in there. Make sure you get over there, show Liz some love, hit that like and subscribe on her channel. We got to get her to that 1,000 member mark, the 1,000 subscriber mark. That's the next hurdle. And then we got to get them watch hours for you too. So,
well, we're at I think it was 6 something last I saw.
Okay.
Because the bigger the stink that I can make, honestly, as much as we're asking for subscribers, the larger the stink I make, the more that they're going to have to kick him out, because they're going to want me to shut up. So that gets him out. So realistically, tell your friend, tell your mom, tell your grandma, everybody, spread it like wildfire, because I'm just going to keep going until they finally just.
So let's talk about how that works with getting them to kick him out, because that's, I'm all for it. Let's just keep going and keep pumping this out there. So the plan or the outline of how you want to make this happen, how does all that work with it?
So basically what happens when you talk out, you become a suppressive person. When you start giving church secrets away, and I say church very loosely. So if you're letting people know about the TRs, if you're letting people know what really happens there, you're exposing all of their dirty little secrets, then it's basically like, get her shut up. And they finally get to a point where they're like, dude, you want your dad? Here. Thanks. That's all I wanted. I appreciate that.
Goes back to Hubbard's own tech. Leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. Yep. So give her dad back, she'll leave you alone.
Not anymore. No, because realistically, they took it too far.
Right.
with their whole bullshit of me being an illegitimate child, I was ready to walk.
Wow.
Because that hurt.
Yeah.
I go through the longest part of my life thinking that he's dead, then to come to find out that he's possibly alive, and no, he's alive, but you're his illegitimate child. He doesn't know you. Then turn to, oh, he's emailing an Elizabeth, or not emailing, he's writing an Elizabeth. It was something stupid, but it was so hurtful and malicious that I was like, fuck this. But then the very next day, what did they do? They harassed Vanessa. And then they kept it up and kept going and kept going and kept going. Okay, fine. You want a war? Let's do this.
I think that they've truly underestimated, number one, your resolve, the resolve of the people in this community, and the fact that it's so easy now. I mean, look at it. A half hour ago, we were sitting talking, just bullshitting, and now we're live, and we have people from all over the world are hearing your story. So I think they've truly underestimated just how far this can go. And I think Leah and what her lawsuit is a perfect example of how this is all going to start blowing up in their faces very heavily. And the more that the truth comes out there, the more it's going to hurt them. So let's do it. Let's blow this out. You were talking about it. You lived the majority of your life thinking your father had passed away. How were you informed that he had passed away?
Calling. It was calling in to try to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm guessing like 1 or 2 months after I came out to him when I was 24, I was calling to talk to him again, just like I normally did. It was nothing new that day.
Right.
It was just, hey, crap, haven't talked to you in a couple days. Let me call you. Yeah. And then I call and, Robert Farris. Oh yeah, by the way, he's dead. What? He's passed on.
Just coldly and blankly like that.
Cold and I just was like, thank you for the information. And I don't know if she hung up first or I hung up first. To be honest, that was a long time ago, but I do remember how old I was.
Oh yeah.
And then go ahead.
With my daughter, I there's no way I can go a week without talking to her. It's hard to go a day without talking to her.
But in the surrogate, it's different.
Right.
So in the surrogate, it's completely different. You basically get to see your parent. The best way I can explain it, I saw my mom every couple days, like I'd already be in bed kind of thing. Or if she was mad, I would see her. But other than that, we didn't see our parents. This wasn't like kumbaya time. My dad, I saw maybe once every 4 or 5 months.
Wow. And
as weird as that is, the only time I would see him is if it was a Saturday or Sunday and it was a really hot day. Like, cause as kids, we didn't tell time. Like if you'd have asked me on any of those times, like, hey, is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I don't fucking know. It's a day, I'm
just trying to put it together, for like my daughter, when she came out, you could tell the anxiety. You could tell for days leading up to it, something was wrong or something was truly bothering her. I can't say wrong because it wasn't wrong. It's just who she is. But you know what I'm saying? Something was off in the way that she was acting. And when she came out, it was hilarious because first of all, it was, I think, Thanksgiving dinner when it happened. And she makes this big grand announcement. And we're like, yeah, we've known for the last few years, hon. But you're in an organization and we all know how much they support the LGBT community. How was that? And the planning and preparation to actually come out and let your father know that that's who you are. You must have developed an ulcer for getting yourself ready for that.
I was ready for him to tell me goodbye, like in that very moment. Well, that's disgusting. Goodbye. But he told a joke. Like I'm never going to forget. It was a dad joke.
Wow.
I thought there was only one gay person per family and my sister was gay first. Like,
wow.
this isn't the gay roulette. It's not like I pulled the wrong card.
Right.
And we chuckled a little bit. And then he's like,
That's how a dad should be handling things.
right. It was
Supportive and let you know, okay, that's what's going on. Let's break this tension and then we can start talking more seriously. That's, I'm my kids hate me for my dad jokes, and seeing that you're a Pokemon fan, why can't you take a shower with a Pokemon?
well, it depends. Are they electric? Are they water? Are they grass? Are they energy?
Well, it's because they'll Pikachu.
Oh dear God.
My kids, they laugh at it, but they hate me so much for those. So,
But it's still a dad joke. It's synonymous. So it's like,
it's supposed to be stupid and silly, and it's it's hard for me to understand the life and the way that they treat you as a young person, because for my kids, I'll eat a spoonful of shit every day if that's what my kids need for me to keep them healthy, happy, and
that's how my partner's dad is. Like, if she called him crying, like, he'd move heaven and earth to get to her. That's just how he is.
Right.
And if perchance Carrie, someone hurts her dad, oh, he'll have mercy on that person's soul. Like, she will rain down fire and brimstone. And you want to see what the apocalypse looks like?
Oh yeah.
Hurt her dad. Her 5'2" butt's gonna be like,
right. It's so sad that you had to get to this point in your life before you could break free and find the love of your life. And it's all because of this organization, what they've held you back, how they've oppressed you, how they've treated you like a prisoner, and well, honestly, degraded you.
Yeah.
You should be free. You are who you are. I accept you for who you are. You're my friend. I don't care, about whether you're with a woman, whether you're with a man, and none of that matters to me. Are you healthy? Are you happy? Do you have love in your life? And I'm glad that you're able to find this kind of acceptance now, but it breaks my heart as a father that you had to go that long without being able to be who you are and be accepted for that. So it's horrible.
And no matter what, it's always going to be hard when it comes to that, because it's, some people approve, some people don't. Some people think that, oh, you woke up one morning and decided to be gay. No, I was gay my whole life. But I finally decided to admit it to myself out loud so that I could start being my true and authentic self.
It's not like you got bit by a nuclear spider or a mosquito and it suddenly turned you.
But I do love doing that to people in crowds when they start scooting away, like I'm going to give them the gay.
Oh my gosh.
I do like doing that. I will sneeze and be like, oh my God, you caught the gay. Well, here's your rainbow flag.
Well, that goes along with the whole the dad joke stuff like that. It's my daughter and her friends, and they're talking and they're like, well, you don't know what it's like to be a lesbian. And I'm like, I've been a lesbian for 40 plus years. What are you talking about? And they just, the first off, being a cop 30 years, my daughter tells her friends, you're not going to shock my dad, and you're not going to make him run away or queasy about anything. So you might as well get used to it now. It to me, like I said, taking her to her first Pride Fest, the amount of, oh my gosh, the backlash within the police department. You took your daughter where? Look, it doesn't rub off. It's not contagious. It's not like the flu. All right. I'm there for my child. And quite honestly, it was the nicest, most peaceful festival I've ever been to my life. And amazingly had the best food I've ever seen for a fair and so I'll be going back next year, and you guys can make fun of it and do what you want, but I really don't care. So and especially in my line of work, we're all alphas. So that's, to be a police officer, you've got to have that domineering type of attitude and personality to you. just simply because of the job itself. So, we do some of the most horrible things to each other as police officers in the name of humor or things like that. But serious stuff like that, I knew an officer that came out, and you would have thought that he had leprosy or something, the way that people just instantly scattered around him.
Mhm.
So I can see, my goodness, what was the reaction throughout the org or throughout the place that you were working on Scientology when they found out?
Well, one person, because I didn't think that it was being spread like wildfire,
Mhm.
because for some reason I thought, oh God, my dad would keep this secret. He's not going to tell anybody. And then totally just blowing my mind, just not even thinking, oh yeah, all the phone calls are recorded. It was one of those situations where I was like, nobody will know this. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. I go to call a friend and they're like, dial tone. Like I got voicemail after voicemail after voicemail of friends. And then it was, okay, like it's already spread to the SAC org. Like,
Wow.
shit. Like that was
Yep.
fast. And suddenly my friends up here didn't want to talk to me, at least my Scientology friends. And so it was kind of like, okay, maybe we just grew apart. I couldn't face that it was because I was gay. And then one of my friends did stay in my life. And with that one person, at least I thought we'd be friends forever. I thought, once I have this big wedding and it's not going to be ridiculous, it's going to be just an intimate big wedding. She was going to stand there next to me. And then, unfortunately that it didn't happen. Like she found out I had to tell her that I was seeing a psychiatrist, and she walked. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Wow.
Because
Yeah, I got to go to the chiropractor. It's more important than being there for your best friend on the most important day of their life.
Yeah.
And I can mirror that as well. I moved here to Michigan. I came out of the Army, couldn't find work down in southwestern Ohio where my family was living. My wife, who had come down, also looking to try to find better work. That's how we met. Next thing you know, she's like, let's go back up to the Detroit area and see how that is. Got up here, got on with the police department. Things were going great. My best friend, who'd been my best friend for years, I'm talking to him and I said, yeah, we're going to get married on June 2nd. And, come on up, man. I want you to be my best friend. Let's do this together. We've been through thick and thin together. And the day of the wedding, no show. Couldn't get him on the phone. It took me a month before I could get him to answer the phone. And his response was, yeah, I just forgot. I didn't know that his girlfriend at the time, she for some reason she didn't like me. So she told him basically, if you go to that wedding, we're done. And
bye.
Yeah, well, the fact of, you thought you have this great friendship with someone, and more details about that person than you do your own family when you have a great friendship.
Right.
And for that kind of thing to happen, mind blowing. But a couple shots of tequila, and let's get on with this. You know what? He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be part of this. I'm not losing sleep over him. So
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from with that. How amazing that it is that people blow off such a strong connection for stupid reasons.
Who knows?
But it also tells you how good a friend that person actually was to begin with.
Yeah. Like it wasn't until someone pointed out, like, if they were a true friend, they wouldn't have done that. But maybe they were spying the whole time.
Oh man.
Because my mom had been the LRH comm, and I was like, I wasn't important enough to spy on. I mean, be realistic. I know a couple things, but nothing like, I'm not a secret exposer. Like I'm not I'll expose my own, but if I heard things, saw things, witnessed whatever, however you want to say it, I don't want to use that for clout, if that makes sense. So that's not ever going to be my topics. And so I never really thought of myself as important enough. But then at the same time,
think about it from the standpoint you were constantly in trouble for disobeying the rules. You come out, and your mom with her connection and everything like that, that for them that could be justified enough to put someone into your life like that. How many people have they done that to? You
I
have
didn't
to.
think that they'd done it to anybody until I heard it from Mark and Leah today. And then I was like, could she have been a plant?
Yeah.
That's fucked up. I'm just saying.
Look at Paulette. Had this person who was her sin eater, this person that she was talking to in confidence, that was supposed to be her conciliary or whatever. And this guy's literally trying to convince her to commit suicide. And he's reporting everything that he knows back to COS, and they're using that against her. So, yeah, I mean, now we know just how deep they're willing to go, and how far they're willing to stoop to hurt someone that they don't like or they think is a potential enemy of the church. So,
yeah, to be honest, I am an enemy of the church, because, I don't want you to torture kids. I don't want you to torture adults, nor do I want them to be hungry. Because let's be real, rice and beans is not a meal, just like barley and milk isn't. What was it? No, my mom explained it. Sorry. It's the barley. You cook the barley. Once the barley's heated and dry, you strain it, and then you pour in milk and some simple syrup or some kind of sugar. And that's what they raised babies on.
Wow.
Sounds super healthy, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's no way that we could have gotten jaundice.
Let's take a look at those third world countries where that is the only thing they have, and see how well that's doing for the populations there.
Yeah.
So, it's, my goodness, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, my mom had to explain that to me today, because I knew I was on LRH's formula as a baby. So I was like, someone told me that it's barley and only barley. And she's like, no, it's that. And I'm all.
That's what turned you. It was the LRH formula.
It was the formula.
We've now figured it out. Okay.
Someone said, is that gay? And all of a sudden it was it. I was eating barley and I was gay, and I'm gay.
It's like a vampire needing blood. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now it's just, you've went from barley in your soup to in your beer. So that's there you go.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah, it's just these things. It's like the niacin stuff. I forget what the actual treatment is, where they make you go into the sauna and the purification. Yeah.
I was like, I know that one.
How many times did you have to do that?
I was supposed to only do it once, and went to do it and got pulled off of it and put on the what's called the PTSSP course, because they wanted me to disconnect from my family.
Wow.
Namely my mom, because she was telling me, this org that you work for is so out ethics. They're not following LRH policy. They're squirreling the tech. And, my mom would say that shit all the time. And so they wanted me to disconnect. And I was just like, I can't. She's my only connection to the outside world.
Right. And that's, it's not even like they ask. They just tell you, you're going to do this, and if you don't like it, too bad. So so what was this PTSSP that you
so it goes through all the different levels of, so PTS means a potential trouble source.
Right.
Man, I am stuttering today. Potential trouble source. And so there's different levels and different things that can be causing it. And so it was like, what you can do to fix this and become triumphant over it, like, yay, I'm suddenly the straight. No, it's the stupidest course that I've probably ever done in there.
Wow. Yeah, man, well, I mean, all of his technology has withstood the stand of time. So, so we know that has to be true, that if they put that out there, that it's a real working kind of thing that's going to help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah, it's going to, you know what it is going to help you? It's going to help you if your wallet's too full. It's going to help you if, you think you have this longevity in your life.
Right.
And it's going to help you destroy the relationships around you. So, I mean, it is going to do a few things for you. Just destroy your money, or take your money, and then destroy every relationship you have. Yeah.
Oh, no, That's what I want. Yeah.
Right? That's what I want in my religion. And right next to, I'm going to stalk people, buy their garbage. And, because I got a garbage of poo. Like,
Yeah.
go ahead, buy my garbage.
That's
We got
like with
2
me.
big dogs.
When we talked to that private investigator and I'm like, how'd you like pulling my trash? And he's like, oh yeah, a lot of dog poop. Yeah. It's Roscoe biscuits for everyone.
Yep.
So we shred and burn every piece of paper that has any information about us. And, I learned that long before dealing with anything to do with Scientology as a
Oh, my
police
mom's
officer.
taught me that since my mom
Yeah.
taught me that since I was a kid. Like
Mhm.
nothing important goes in the garbage. We keep it in a big pile, and then she shreds the shit out of it with an industrial shredder.
Wow. I think you owe
Because
Sandy an apology.
I know, right? Damn it, I'm so interesting.
Hey, well, that tells you. I mean, look at the growing community that's out there showing you support and love.
Yeah, and I do appreciate it. I do. Like yesterday, I was crying. I had to take a minute. I do want everyone to remember I'm still human. Like I tell jokes because I'm going through a lot, but other than that, I'm still very human. I'm not a Scientologist anymore. Being emotional is kind of human. As my beloved Carrie points out, I'm not a robot anymore. Unless I don't want to have emotions and I want to be emotionless, then I can be a Scientologist again.
How's that feel, actually opening up yourself to someone you love?
Opening up to her is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Opening up to V is also easy. It's like we've known each other our whole lives. Opening up to strangers is not so easy for me. Because sometimes I'm worried about being judged. I'm not worried that you're not going to believe me. I'm worried that you're going to judge me for how I look. And who cares how I look? Who cares if I'm gay? Because it doesn't change the story at all.
The nice thing about the way that society is changing is that no longer, like, for years, I had to hide my tattoos as a police officer. And now, I'm free, because we had talked about it before. I want to get my sleeves done. And I'm not worried about it. I used to have to worry about it because people are like, oh my gosh, you were chief of police and you've got those tattoos. So it's nice to see that society's actually changing and becoming more open to things like that. You be who you are. The true people that are important to you, they're going to love you for who you are. They're going to accept you for who you are. The rest of those people, that's just static in the air. So screw them. You don't need to worry about that. You don't need that hatred on you. Let it go where it needs to be, because there's you've got too much going for you to worry about whether or not some woman at the checkout line at the grocery thinks that having a piercing looks bad or that you don't dress appropriately for her. So,
yeah, and being realistic, that doesn't bother me at all. Like it did at first. It was kind of like one of those things. My mom's mom used to tell me all the time, she used to call me gordita when I was a kid. And so when your Spanish grandma is calling you gordita, it sounds like a cute little name until all of a sudden it turns into gorda. And you're, again, still thinking it's a cute name. And her sister finally tells you, hey, do you know what gordita or gorda means? And I was like, well, not really. I've never looked it up. And she goes, little fat girl for gordita. Ooh. And then really fat girl for gorda. And I was like, man, that fucking bitch was a bitch till the end.
She's been throwing shade on me all these years and I didn't even know it. I thought, and
here I could have been calling her a whore because she was sleeping with everybody. Like everybody, she's a doorknob. Everybody got a ride.
Wow. Yeah, it's I grew up in my mother is a very strict, hardline Christian. And my father was just, I've shared the story, I don't know how many times. My father was this absolutely brutal former Green Beret from Vietnam who became a very high-placed law enforcement officer. And, my wife, the first time she saw me without a shirt and saw the scars and just couldn't believe it. The scars on my back from being beaten with whip antennas or whatever he could get his hands on. You know,
Push
this
bone
man
cords
never
for
had to
me.
do that. He was stronger than me. He was a better fighter than me. He never had to go to those lengths. My mom, on the other hand, to this day, my mom's 5 foot tall, and I swear she's shrinking by the minute. But you know, she used to tell me, because when I started my growth spurt, I was up there big, quick, and she's like, I don't care if I gotta grab a shoe, a 2x4, whatever I need. As expected, my mom weighed like 100 pounds and is 5 foot tall. What could she
That's
do
like
to hurt
Carrie
me?
right there. Because
Yeah.
she tells her kids, I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
Oh yeah. I remember coming home and telling my mom that my teacher had said that if she spanks us, we can call the police and she can go to jail. She goes, okay, I'll go to jail, but you just wait till I get out and see what happens. And I was like, I know this woman. She's a little hillbilly firecracker. I am not lighting that fuse. So yeah, it's so we've been, I've been avoiding it, but you gave me the okay. You're ready for it. So
Yep.
let's talk about the impact of what's been going on with you and how this is affecting you personally. And, walk us through this, what it's like for you.
So for me, I want to say that I'm being brave and I'm putting on a tough face, but I'm doing the best I can. And unfortunately, one of my eyes is tilting. So sorry. I have trigeminal neuralgia.
We're putting up with the earphones. We can put up with that. So
right. Hey, the earphones are sexy. They kind of like they
Okay.
match it.
They're slimming.
They're slimming. They make my face look super sexy. But it's one of those things where it was like, when I first started this journey, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be brave. And then I'm realizing that it went from bravery to anger. And how dare you try to fuck with my friend because she went with me to gold. All right. Now you're just pissing me off. Now that it's been months into this and we've tried like so many different ways to try to get him to talk to me. I'm not giving up. It's just pissing me off more. Like, be a man. If you don't want me to reach out to you, be a man.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep trying to get other people out because there's people in there that don't want to be in there or need rescuing. But you can be a man and tell me.
Yes. That's the thing is be a parent, man or not. My wife and my mother are some of the most honest people that you're going to find. And oftentimes the truth is going to be painful, but they're going to tell it to you. I would find that my father would hide things more often than not because he didn't want the blowback from the honesty of it. So, it's just, if he doesn't want contact with you, tell you.
Yeah.
But,
I'll stop
quit with
mentioning
it.
his name,
Yeah.
but I won't stop.
Yeah.
But because he's not reaching out, he's not saying anything, I'm going to keep going until they release him, until they walk him to that front door and they open that gate. I'm going to be on the other side. I'm going to try really hard to not flip everybody the bird and tell them what dumbasses they are. But then I keep thinking, you know what? Would I really do that? No, I'm going to have a flat screen fucking TV blaring Leah Remini just so that they can see some of the stories that woke me up.
I got a 2,000 watt PA system we can throw in the bed of a truck and just blast.
I got a lifted I got a lifted car. I promise.
Hey.
It's got a very nice lift kit. My other half hates it because she can't climb in very easily.
I'm just talking. I've got a 2,000 watt PA system.
Oh, a PA system. Okay.
Yeah. From when I used to do the professional cage fighting, I was a promoter. So, we get in these halls and we had no way of having the announcement and all that. I got a PA system that they will hear all the way up from Gold, all the way to the bases up north. It's a nice.
I'm okay with that. Okay with that. I do pretty good karaoke. And I have this amazing song and it goes, it's a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. Cult. And I'll just keep singing that all day long. But so the question, Amy Delp, and if I mispronounce your last name, I'm truly sorry. Do you think he knows the extent at which you're going to find him? If he doesn't, he's stupid. Because if he thinks I'm going to give up, he's wrong. If they think I'm going to give up, they're wrong.
Right.
I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to giving up on stuff. Like, like that whole saying, don't beat a dead horse. Yeah, maybe shouldn't, don't, I'm like, yeah, but I will keep going.
Yeah, I mean, they think that they probably thought that you were going to do like most people, and you were going to sink into the shadows and just take what's going on. But they've gone too far. Not only from the fact of hiding his existence from you for 15 plus years.
Yeah, for almost 20 years.
But to go after a friend who just wanted to be there and support you and help you. Now, it's on them. I have a good idea. I think that maybe a chat-a-thon, 10 hours of nothing but Save Bob Ferris would be a good way to go.
I would do that again. That was a blast last time.
Excellent. What do you think, folks? You think we should put on another chat-a-thon, Save Bob Ferris? Let us know in the chats there, because I know there's a lot of people that would definitely love to come on and show their support. So yeah, we can blow this out. And matter of fact, let's ask him. What do you think, Chad?
Chad approves. Chad thinks it's a great idea. Yep.
Excellent, excellent. You got any questions for Liz while you're here?
Poe asks the tough questions, doesn't he?
Got him on the spot there.
I'm sitting here drawing, and he's got me, doing questions, guys. Am I right?
I saw you finally back at your seat, and I said, "We'll just throw him in here and see what happens."
You're like,
gotcha.
When we catch you.
So
no, yeah. I'm just enjoying watching you guys. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, I'm gonna pull you back out real quick, Chad. Okay. Get back to your. Don't take another nap. I saw you. So
I know.
All right. All right. But
I do see one question I want to answer real quick.
Yeah,
from Ray Hendrickson. Hopefully I don't bounce it. Says comment. The eyelid makes you look determined.
There you go.
Well, that is the nicest thing that anybody's ever said to me, because most of the time people say, "What's wrong with your eye?" Or they go, your eye. It's one is smaller than the other one suddenly. And I'm like, thanks. I appreciate you letting me know that.
It shows you how committed I am to this conversation we're having.
Right? I'm focused. I'm hyper focused.
Yeah, that eye is piercing to your soul right now. Let's see. I'm trying to see here if we got any others, because I'll do that, and I'll be so far behind in chat that by the time I get the question up there, it'll be long out of date. So
yeah, I try to see like any questions that I missed. If anybody has like any, we got a one in for the chat-a-thon.
Excellent.
Okay, so apostate Alex, there we go. Question, Liz, what would you suggest is most useful resource for LGBTQ plus recovering from Scientology? A book, a film, etc. Etc. Honestly, anyone recovering from Scientology, the first thing I would tell them to do is journal. Get your thoughts out, write letters to your family, even if your family's not talking to them, and just burn them into the atmosphere, because it's going to hurt for a little bit. What would I recommend? Reach out to your local, you can do a youth center. You can do it, because let's be real, most of the people that come out of Scientology, their adulthood is stunted. You can do that. If I was going to recommend a book, I'm still stuck on David Burns, Feeling Good. That is one of my favorite books, especially when it comes to mental health. And reaching out for friends.
I don't know if you have it there, but there's a fantastic organization here in the metropolitan Detroit area called Affirmations. And
we have pride stuff and like LGBTQ teens and all that stuff here. Each city's a little different, to be completely honest. But yeah, find your local one with teens, because you're going to need teenagers to understand you're an adult in a big body.
Talk to us about that, about the shock of the real world once you came out and realized that you now had to make your own way. I mean, that had to be.
I mean, my family helped a lot, so I didn't have to make my own way until my family finally was like, "You're gay? I cut you off."
Oh my goodness.
And then once they cut me off, I had to learn how to. I'd never balanced a checkbook before, so I got to learn that the hard way. I'd never gone grocery shopping and looked at the receipt or the amount of money I was spending. So I'd never done that. So it was like a double whammy for me. I am really good at cooking macaroni and cheese now, by the way, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying, I'm amazing at it. You'll be lucky to have some of my mac and cheese. But I had to learn the hard way, and you learn it a lot by being alone and realizing that you have to be your own friend first. And if you're not your own friend, then telling someone else you're gay or whatever doesn't mean anything. You have to like yourself.
Yeah, I that's an excellent point. Is you know, if you're going to come out, you're going to begin this new journey of your life of being who you really are. Make sure that you're prepared for that.
Yeah,
because it's going to be a huge step for you. And,
yeah, because if everyone's not everyone, I'm not going to try to do a broad generality, but realistically, if you're not happy with yourself, how can you expect someone else to be happy with you? And so your vibe will rub off on them, and then maybe they won't see the amazing friend that you could possibly be.
Yeah.
So get good with yourself first.
Sorry, it's fall now here, so my allergies are blown out.
Oh, and here I thought you were talking dirty. Damn it.
No.
I always wanted a man to talk dirty to me. Besides,
well,
ma'am, can you move your truck?
Unfortunately for that, there's only one woman I do that for. So,
right?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one woman I do it for too, but
there you
at the
go.
same time.
So,
Still gotta make a joke.
Here's one. Amy had another one here. I would assume most people leaving a cult need support building their lives. First, there are wonderful LGBT supports already in most communities. And
but it's reaching out to them that's hard for them, because they have to not only admit to themselves that they're gay, they have to be willing to admit it to someone else. Yeah. And sometimes that's a lot harder than most people seem to realize. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, you have to be okay with yourself, and then you can reach out, because once you can say it out loud to a mirror, then it'll be easier to say it out loud to another person.
You know, and as a father, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do if my child turned out like. My thing is I just want my children to be happy. I want them to be able to support themselves, be able to handle the situations that they go through. Who you are is who you are. It's not that I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is, are you healthy and happy? Are you a good person? And, a lot of people equate, for the longest time, because it was so demonized, that being part of the LGBT community meant that you were deprived, a pervert, something like that.
And you were automatically a pedophile. I love getting that one.
Oh yeah. That's just insane. But that's thanks to, trying to control people's minds in the way that they think. And that's gone on far too long. And that's why it's great that we have this internet. We have this community that builds throughout the internet, and there's support that, it's no longer, you don't have to be in the shadows. You don't have to be ashamed of that's who you are. You're not broken. You are just,
there's nothing wrong with you.
So
the trick is, people want to take the assumption like a gay person's broken. There's nothing wrong with them. Realistically, they're the best them they could be.
Yeah. And
that's saying more than someone trying to be someone else. You want to copy Britney Spears? Cool. But be the best you that you can be.
Yeah.
I always thought, if I was to ever be around kids, I would not want them to be gay. Not because there's something wrong with it, but because of the shit that I've gone through.
Right.
I don't want them to experience that pain. And it wasn't until I got with my partner where it was like, it's not about, I don't want them to experience the kind of pain that I went through. And I went through it alone. I would never let someone go through that alone.
Okay. This one I don't understand. Whispers in your ear, mud.
Yeah. Go down 2 and you'll see the rest of the joke.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, what is he talking about? Is this some sign of insight?
I did see someone asked if I saw Alex's documentary on Nora. I did see it. I thought it was beautiful. Anything that points out, some of the shit that we've gone through, or even Nora,
is amazing,
because sometimes she forgets that she is amazing.
You
And
basically
sometimes
got
it
the
helps
double
being
whammy.
reminded.
You were in a cult that was doing everything it could to make you toe the line and do things the way they wanted, on top of trying to hide who you truly were during that point. So it was like you had double the weight on your shoulders. Apostate Alex, it's hard to even know who you are though after being in Scientology. That,
Yeah, it is hard to. You can get lost in the image you want to be, but it's better to find the person you are than the image you want to be, because image is just that. It's just what you put out there. It's not who you actually are. It's kind of like when a person goes on their first date. I would hope that they put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
But most of the time they don't. But if they just put their best foot forward, that's what you're putting out there. The trick is keeping your best foot forward going.
I don't even know how people even handle it anymore. I would have no idea. I've been married 33 years now. It's been over 35 years since I've been on a date. I don't even know how people even do that nowadays. I'm very happy where I'm at. What is the best thing viewers can do to help forward LGBTQ plus acceptance, and secondly, support LGBT Scientologists?
Oh, say I support you. Just say those words. I support you, and I'm here for you if you need a friend.
And I think for me, I believe you. I believe in you. That's something I think for me, that shows my feelings. I believe in you and I believe who you are. So there's no question in it. And I think that's one of the big things talking to my daughter and her friends, is the fact that a lot of people just don't accept the fact that that's who they are.
Yeah.
So,
it's a part of me. That means it's who you are. It's a part of you.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you so much. She put, Liz, I support you. Sorry. The T went to the other spot.
Yeah. Types like I do. So put that space in there.
I call it fat finger syndrome. She's probably super skinny or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I got the
yeah, you're like me.
Hold on.
You got the chunkers there. So
right. And here's a lesbian joke for you. And it works on straight people too. What do you call a lesbian with long fingers?
What?
Well hung.
Okay.
Yeah, you can give a gay joke to your daughter.
I'll try it, see what she says. We generally, no problem whatsoever. That's who she is. I'm still kind of at the point where I still know nothing like that. I don't talk about with my kids about the actual sex itself or anything. So we'll see how that one goes over. That might actually
give it to the wife then.
Yeah.
Let's give it to the wife, and she can give it to, be like, look, I heard this funny joke today.
Oh my gosh. My wife is, she's so incredible. Remember the show called The Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel and that?
Mm-hmm.
My wife actually bought me a shirt, and it says on the front of it in big bold letters, "Men, we're just better." And then underneath of it had the Man Show logo. And she's like, "Why aren't you wearing that shirt?" And I'm like, "I don't want to get attacked." She goes, "Wear the shirt." And I'm like, "Are you trying to get me hurt?" She goes, "No, I just want you to wear something that I bought for you that I thought you would appreciate." So I'm just like, so I got a wife that's really cool. I found it very ironic when being gay makes you dangerous to children was being told by people. Covering for actual offenders. Reflect before you talk. That's honestly, that's society in and of itself. Best way to deflect the suspicion of you and what you're doing is turn it on other people. They're doing far worse than I ever did. And you know what it is? It's them gays. They're the ones doing it. So I mean, that's
like the things that I've heard people blame on the gays. It's like, oh, fashion, the gays change it. Well, no shit. We had a fashion sense,
Well, but you and we have very similar fashion sense. So,
but I make it a joke if people want to say that certain things were changed because of it. No, it was called the change of the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, gay, straight, purple, blue, whatever, but it's a sign of the times. Oh my God, you lost 100 pounds. That way to go.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm to
close.
go.
85 in the last year, so I'm heading on there too. Let's see, Alex. Let's see what this is. Okay, so two lesbian ex-Scientologists walk into a bar. So what? Who cares? People should love. Okay, all right. It was supposed to be a joke, Alex, but
I know, right? I was waiting for the punchline, and one of them said, "Hey,
and it's the
like,
British
hey,
sense of humor.
you want a
My goodness.
U-Haul?"
Let's see. No, I'm not getting into that one. Let's see here.
Someone asked, "How are you?"
So, all right. So we had talked about it, and we want to make sure we're being as loud as possible, getting his name out there as much as possible. What's the next step on this that we can start doing to help get this?
So, I know that I don't get a lot of views. So right now I'm still limited on my views, and there I
Right.
appreciate every single one of the views.
Absolutely.
But once I get to 1,000, then I can start getting the commercial, or not commercials, but the monetization stuff.
Mhm.
And then you can turn around and get the message out to more people. So
Right.
the more people that you can actually reach, whether you're throwing a commercial on there or you're, and then you go to those audiences, and you have to get almost like you have to get monetized in order for YouTube to also throw your name into the algorithm.
Exactly. But then you get to the situation where I'm at, like the Leah Remini video I did with Jeffrey Augustine's over 25,000 views now. It shot up immediately. I mean, with the next day we're over 10,000 views, and it was climbing like crazy. And then of course they hit me with a community guidelines violation. And so that immediately starts breaking down the algorithm. So it's hard to tell what's going on with them. As for me, I don't worry about the monetization so much as, any money that comes in goes for better equipment, better cameras, better microphones, better lighting, those kinds of things. But, it's crazy because YouTube literally takes my super chats and doesn't give them back to me if I get hit with a community guideline violation. And they're supposed to.
And that's why I have the buy me a coffee. And
Yep.
someone told me to put on my Amazon wish list, which I didn't know what to throw in there. So I just throw in stuff that I really like. I didn't know what to. I'm not really big on asking for stuff. I'm actually bad at it.
That's why I've always made it very clear. It's going to improve the content that I can put out, the better equipment. It's not about the money for me.
Yeah. And to be honest, like I'm doing this all on my dime. And so I don't think even if I got 1,000 and I got monetized, I would make more than like $30 a month. So, I'm definitely not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for a skinny guy, about 5'5", 5'6", blonde hair, white hair, blue eyes, and looks just like me, but much older. I'm doing it for his ass. And then as soon as he gets out, we work on the next person and the next person and the next person. Y'all done pissed me off.
Yeah. That's something that, how were you informed he was alive? How did that
I received a phone call, and that phone call stated, was basically asking me to pay some of his freeloader debt. And I was just kind of like, are they really collecting? He's been dead for almost 20 years. Like in my head, like I'm thinking the freeloader debt changed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like he's dead. And then click. Like as soon as the word dead came out of my mouth, that person hung up. And so I pondered it and I reached out to Claire because it made no sense. Like why they would try to collect after almost 20 years. Then now it didn't even cross my mind that he was alive.
Yeah.
In that moment, it did not even cross my mind. All I could think of was they were literally, I'm going to have to pay his freeloader debt. So that way they will leave me alone, or, how am I going to come up with this money? And
how much were they asking for or demanding?
They didn't even tell me. They hadn't even told me a number. Wow. But then when I reached out to Claire, she's like, "Oh, when did your dad die?" And I was like, 2004. And she's like, "No, he wasn't."
Right.
I can check with Mark, but no, he wasn't. And then I'm getting that pitter patter of, what? He's alive. He really is. And sure.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to put your link up there so everybody can see it.
Hold on. Where's Goldie?
Yeah, Goldie. Where I know she's
Can I get
bouncing
a
back and
Goldie?
forth. Let's see. Um,
I'll definitely ask. I'm asking Goldie to post it right now.
okay.
Or my love, I know you're in there. Can you post it? Because I know you know how to do all that stuff. Um,
I don't even know how to do it myself. I'm looking right now. Let's see.
see, now we're both looking. See, now I gotta look. Okay,
Yeah.
come here.
Oh,
Come
there we
here.
go. Okay. It's going to have an invite. It's going to be like a rounded, like an oblong shape that says invite with a plus symbol in it. And when you click on that, you can do like the view only or the view and edit. And just it'll pop down with a link that says copy link.
Oh, we did it the old-fashioned way.
Here, let's see here. I'll let me do this. All right, share screen as a mom. There we go. Okay. All right. You see where I'm at there?
Yeah, I just went to my YouTube
Okay.
because it's put on my YouTube. It's on the
Oh,
main
it's on your
page.
YouTube? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So
about to say,
my Amazon one is plus the buy me a coffee is on the YouTube.
excellent, excellent.
And
There
I
you
just
go.
posted it.
Let's
If
see.
it doesn't work, let me know.
All right. Yep. I see it there. I can't click on it because it's the let's see. I'm on the StreamYard, so I'd have to go into the YouTube itself to be able to click on it.
Oh, okay.
So
But
everybody click on it and let us know that if it's working or not. So
yes, please. And if not, I'll try to find. Oh, there's Goldie. Okay.
yeah.
I want to thank you personally for keeping.
Yeah, and Goldie has a coffee count also.
Right.
So,
Goldie, we love you very much. Can you post my information, please? I wonder if she listens to everybody's or if she's just in like 30 following just the chats.
oh, she's got so much going on. You know, she was over there with Leah and Mike, and they had over 4,000 people were watching at one time. It's got to be crazy.
Okay. Said it was working. Perfect.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm checking mine now. I want to know what's going on with that because I just tried putting it on there, and for some reason it put YouTube. There it is. Okay, all right. So that's how it works. I've never done that before. That's crazy.
There we go.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about? We were talking about something.
We were talking about when you found out that your father was alive. How Claire
Okay,
told
sorry.
you
I
that-
was like,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
when Claire told me that, she said she'll get back to me, and then like I don't know if it's the next day
Mhm.
or the day after the next. Because to be completely honest, finding out your dad's alive is really a gut punch.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, okay, I've reached out to whoever I can. He was still alive in 2005, so there was no way that he died in 2004.
Wow.
Ugh. Livid at this point because now it's been 20 years that I could have been reaching out to my dad. I could have had a dad.
Yeah.
And nothing. And it was just one more thing. And then suddenly it was like, wait a minute. She said it was a blow drill. That means he's trying to get out.
Oh
my God. I want to see him. I want to see him. I want to hug him. I'm going to get mad at him later. I just want to see him, touch him.
Yeah.
I just want to see my dad. And then it's just been one thing after another, like cops not doing this, the cops saying this is happening. This is happening. And now we're in this spot where it's like, I still haven't laid my eyes on him.
yeah.
And I would love to, because I'm not trying to get a daddy, like in that idea that he's going to be the dad I always wanted, but he's going to be a dad. Like, listen to my stories. Like, hey, how are you doing? I'm good. How are you? Simple as that.
Let's think about when he actually breaks away from the chains of Scientology. And
yeah, it's going to be hard at first, and he's going to need a lot of therapy.
And then the father in him kicks in. I think one of the something that you're going to have to watch out for is the fact of the depression and the realization of what he's done and what he's put you through. And just like, you know, needing someone there and being supportive of you, you know, he's going to come to that realization like you have, that Scientology is bad. It's a cult. It's damaging families and people's lives. And, you know, he's going to need that support from you as well. but hopefully that's just going to make your bond become that much stronger.
That much stronger.
Yeah.
And I hope so. Last night I was very overwhelmed with the idea that he was gonna, basically spit gay rhetorics at me and tell me about how disgusting it is to be gay and how I'm an abomination or
Right.
need to be put on an island and then the island blown up. So I just had a very, I keep sugarcoating it in my head of how amazing it's going to be, but I'm not taking into consideration how it's really going to be.
Yeah, I always, I look at it from the standpoint of I always use the principle of plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah, and right now, hope is what's holding me together, and to be honest, like talking to everybody else, but really, it's hope that's holding me together.
Yeah, and describe what Scientology's viewpoint is on someone who's LGBTQ plus.
So it's known as 1-1, which is covert hostility. So if you can imagine this, I say close your eyes. No. So if you're standing face to face with someone, let's say you're standing face to face with a drug dealer. The drug dealer's smiling, but he's got something behind his back. You're, as a police officer, going to go to he's holding a weapon. But if he's another police officer, still the same position, holding his hand behind his back, you're not going to immediately think he's going to shoot me. Yeah. But he could. And that's the whole point of 1-1 is that no matter their race, color, creed, it's about the person holding the knife, but smiling to your face.
Right.
And at any moment you give them a weakness and they will stab you.
Wow.
They will shoot you. They will do whatever they have to do, but they're going to smile to your face. And, in Scientology, there's a couple of Hubbard's policies, where he basically states that they should be put on an island and all gathered up together. So I didn't go to Pride for quite a few years because I was always scared to be in a large group of people, a large group of gays all in one location. Sounds a little weird, but that's how it was in my head.
That's what was drilled into you. I mean, don't apologize or anything like that. You had this horrible organization beating these ideologies into your head since childhood. You're out now. You know who you are. You know where you are. You know your heart. So, that happened, and it was, horrible but now you don't need to apologize. We also, just like Alex is saying, we all support you. Every single one of us right here is standing behind you. We got our hands on your shoulders, pushing you forward. So don't apologize.
And I truly do appreciate it. Like, there's been people that have sent me Pokemon stuff. And it makes my bloody day. Like,
awesome.
I got a card with one of them, two cards, and it made my day because they were listening to what I liked. And they were like, I've got, what was that?
I've got a present for you. I have a Pikachu keychain purchased from the Gachapon store at the Pokemon store in Tokyo Station. Would you like that?
I would. Would you like me to buy it from you?
No. It's a gift.
Oh.
Friends do that for each other. You love Pokemon. Right? It's literally sitting there still in the plastic eggshell that it came out of.
You don't take it out of the plastic. Marilyn tells me all the time, like, I still have Marilyn stuff in the plastic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're zoomed in. But like here, like this, I still have it in the package.
Yeah. This was sent to me. One of the fans of the channel bought the Mike Render bobblehead and then got the Xenu costume from Maryland, and it got here, and I was like, I don't want to take that out of the package.
Right? There's a part of me that's like, I'm thinking about telling the love of my life that I want to dress up like a squirrel, because I put a Charizard onesie on my Amazon wish list. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I really want to dress up like a squirrel because I'm a squirrel after everything that happened yesterday. I'm going to try to find me a squirrel onesie if I can.
Trying to find, with my kids, they grew up going to a It's a con, like a Comic Con here in Detroit called YumaCon. And for years they were like, Dad, you got to dress up and all that. And then one year, I can't find it, but one year I went as Hellboy. I actually made the whole outfit, the skull cap, and put the hair in it and everything. And they were like, oh, and then got folks at work were like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, this is for my kids. Those people I'm never going to see again. I don't care what they think, but my kids were happy. And that I want them to know that their dad's not ashamed to do stuff like that for them. Let's see, Joni Cummings. Thank you for that super chat, Joni. As a straight woman, I guess want to go up to Liz and Nora and their wives, give them big hugs in person and say, I'm here to support you. That's absolutely what each and every one of us should be doing.
Right? Because if anybody needed support, honestly, I tell people to reach out to savebobferris.com or no, savebobferris@gmail.com. I apologize. If you ever need a friend to vent, I try to get back to the emails within a couple of days. But you're more than welcome to reach out. Joni, thank you so very much. My other half is definitely a hugger. For me, it takes a minute or two just because it, I flinch a lot. I grew up abused. I'm really sorry. I grew up abused and in a cult. So
believe me, I know. I know full well how that sounds. I've told a story before going to we were on our way to Florida and we'd stopped at a restaurant in Georgia and right next to the hotel we were staying in. And I had this pair of boots that my mom had gotten for me that I had really wanted them. I thought they were the new trend and all that. So I put them on. We go to dinner. My dad looks down and looks at them and he goes, hey, need to run back to the hotel for a minute, and then drug me off with him. And as soon as we got in the hotel room, that's when he broke my nose for the second time. And he, calling me the F word and, just everything he could to degrade me. So I know how it is to be that person that when someone wants to show you affection or a loving touch, it's shocking to you.
Just give me a second, and I have no problem with it, but you just have to, give me a second.
But the great thing is, the more you do it, the more you're going to come to enjoy it, especially with your kids when they want to come up and they want to give you a hug. They want to, just sit there with you. It's going to become where it's you're no longer wanting to flinch, but you're wanting to embrace it and be part of it. It's awesome. So just give your time. You're there. And, the thing is that I found with, my friends that are in the LGBT community, and I don't say the rest of it because I get tongue tied and I'm trying to say it and I'll scramble it all up and look like a big jerk doing it.
Oh, so do I. So I just say, LGBT. Or you can just go the alphabet mafia.
Okay, we'll use that. I like that better. But with my friends who have been out and open for a long time, their thing is that at a certain point they're like, I don't need you to accept me or to prove to me that you believe in who I am. What I need you to do is just treat me like every other person. Yeah. That's another way of showing your support as well. As I look at you and I don't see any of that. I see you. And that's what I care about. I see a person with a caring heart, a caring soul. You wouldn't be able to find love like you have if you didn't have that in you.
She's honestly, I think she's off to the store now because she hasn't responded in a while. But yeah, I got lucky as hell. I think I don't believe in a God anymore. I'm more power to everybody that does. But for me, I believe in a higher power.
Right.
And so for that higher power, I thank them every day for finding her.
Yeah, it's because it's a gift into your life. And they only make you a better, stronger person for being there. And that's the joys of unconditional love. So
and it's weird. I always thought it was cliche when people would say, you make me want to be a better person.
Yeah.
But fuck, you find someone like that and you're like, I'll be that better person. Fuck, find a better person. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna be the best person I can be.
I tell the story of I've been a police officer for a short amount of time. And I came home and I was talking to the wife and she's like, stop. The minute you come through that door, you're not Officer Poe. You're my husband, John Poe. All right. So when you're here, I don't want you being that cop. I sat back and I thought about it, and I said, the thing is, why don't I just bring John Poe into the police officer? And I found that my life and my career started moving forward so much more quickly when, instead of worrying about being that staunch police officer, actually being a human being and letting myself be who I am as a police officer. So, I understand that that's, the growth and wanting to be that better person because of the person you're with. I understand that completely.
Yeah.
I don't believe
Oh.
in soulmates. I don't. I think that we all create our own bond between each other.
Yeah.
And, the thing is I married way above my pay grade, and I know
I think that all the time.
Mhm.
Like, just all the time. She's definitely, like, I'd give myself a good solid 5 because I'm funny, but she's definitely like 9.5 to 9.8
Yeah.
because you know how it's hard to get that perfect 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely up there, and I'm a solid 5. Like, can't
Well, you give
can't
yourself
fuck
a
with
higher
my
ranking than I
humor.
give myself. So,
I got to meet in the middle. That way, I
yeah,
don't have, like, I'm not cocky,
yeah,
and I'm not a total weirdo.
yeah. And, my wife talks about how we had to go through fertility treatment to have our children. And she talks about the gaining weight and all that. And for her, it's surprising that I've never said anything about it, looked at her different, treated her differently. And I explain it to her very simply. I don't see that. I see that girl that I married.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at you, that's what I see. I don't worry about the rest of that, because for me, the love, the beauty, all of that comes from here and here. I'm not worried about the physicality of it.
Yeah.
And, for me, there's only one woman in the world that's more beautiful than my wife, and that's my daughter. So
There you go.
yeah.
You've turned your life into a country song. You realize that, right?
Well, I am from the Appalachia. I am a hillbilly. It's like my kids were asking me, they're like, Dad, Mom's French Canadian and you're Indian. And I go, no, I'm hillbilly, which makes you 50% hillbilly, which makes you 100% hillbilly. So just deal with it. So, and the funny thing is, my wife likes country music more than I do. So I'm a metalhead.
Yeah, I'm eclectic. It depends on my mood. If I'm in that pissed off mood, then I just need to be calmed down. And what calms me down? Limp Bizkit, Slipknot.
Yeah, you were saying
Just to
that.
calm me down.
For me, I was jamming with some Hatebreed, some what was that other band? Some extreme metal, and then next thing I'm like, you know what? I could really listen to Pink Try right now.
Or
I
Five
love
Finger
Pink.
Death Punch. That's a good one for
Yep.
me. Five Finger Death Punch is one of my favorites. One of these days, I'm going to see them in concert, and I'm a little too old for the.
The singer is retiring.
Well, that's rude.
Yeah, I know. But he wants to be a father. He wants to be a husband. He wants to spend his time with his family, and he's achieved pretty much the goals he wanted to with his band. So
Well, then I'll just stick with with Pink, because
Yeah.
she's just amazing in concert.
Oh, come on, her live shows are simply they're another level. That's why she's selling out stadiums wherever she goes, because not only does she have great music, but a great motto, I don't know what you say, the way that she uplifts everybody that listens to her. But her show in itself is just like a Broadway performance. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, you listen to Pink?" And I'm like,
And
"Yeah."
and while she's swinging around on this trapeze and doing all this weird ab workout shit, she's still singing at the exact same time.
And doesn't get out of breath. I walked up the stairs and had to get on an oxygen machine. So, it's crazy.
Well, she also quit smoking, and
Yeah.
I'm trying.
But, also she, it's just amazing, but she seems so down to earth. And quite honestly, she's as hardcore as anybody there is out there. It's just her genre of music's different. So that's, I think that's more what I like is I like hardcore. I like the punk side of things. I want things that are in your face. It doesn't have to be the metal guitar and all that. As long as the message is there, it's righteous and it's in your face. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So let's
Absolutely.
see. Let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, Mister. I'm working all these festivals. Rub it in her face, there, Alex. He saw Limp Bizkit the other day. He works a lot of the big music festivals over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm talking with a member of the band Slipknot about coming on and doing an interview right now, and he's like,
I'm watching that one.
Oh, he's like, I don't want to make it about Slipknot. And I'm like, dude, it's going to have to come around to it no matter what. And that's the thing is that's the great thing. Once your channel starts growing and you want to expand out and do other things, the bigger your channel gets, the more that people are going to want to talk to you and come on your channel. So we got to get you up there so you can start putting out there.
And getting it spread more and all that stuff. Alex's question is kind of funny. So question, Blink-182 or Green Day? Green Day.
Neither. I'm just not into
But if
them.
you had to choose between one of them.
Green Day.
That's how I did. Yeah. It's Green Day.
Yeah.
It's all the small things like my voice or my manhood. No, I can't do it.
Oh, and did you see that the lead singer of Smash Mouth passed away?
Oh my God, that was sad.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Not a huge fan of their music, but they had some jams that I could get into. And then when I heard that, I was like, daggone, man, all these great people. Let's see.
Still have a few good ones.
Love you, Liz. Last night was rough, but people are coming.
Yeah.
And the thing is I'm not.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yep. And that's the thing is, when we were talking, Liz could tell you when we were talking before getting ready for this, I was like, well, anytime you want to take a break, you let me know and we'll do it. And you're like, no, I got to do this. I got to push through it. So, that's the thing. So you found out from Claire that your dad was possibly alive. What was the next step that actually brought this into realization?
So in all of that process, I start doing welfare checks because I'm like, that's the one thing that I can do. So I call originally I called the Los Angeles Police Department. That was a joke. I was then told to call the Riverside. Now I don't know if they have both, but I know they have a sheriff's office. So I called the sheriff's office and did a welfare check. The first one was like, he made me wait for a couple hours. I think it was like 5 or 6 hours. And then they finally called back and he's like, the guy at the gate saw him within the last couple days. And so he should be fine. And I'm like, how is that a welfare check? And if you want, and then he turns around and he says, what you can do is your next, because I was getting upset. Like, that's not a welfare check. And he said, you know what you should do? You should actually come down here and ask to see your dad at the gate yourself. Sucked up my pride, realized that, oh shit, I'm planning to go to Gold. Shit. And then I was like, you know what? Screw this. All right, let's go. I told my partner what the cop had just said. And she's like, all right, we're doing this. We're going. And then that started off with me going. I walked up to the gate. I said, my name is Elizabeth Farris. I even used my legal formal name. And then it was just dead air. That's all we got until the cop called back. And I don't know if you've heard that story, but it was like the cop calls back and, we gave him the option to file a restraining order against you. You might want to leave before you're trespassed. You're an illegitimate child, Oh, he's riding with an Elizabeth, but he's not ready to meet her for the first time. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I have pictures on me right now of me and my dad. Like I have them on me.
That's why I say one of the things we need to do is we need to get Jeffrey involved in this on the financial end of it. And I know he's already been involved, but I'd like to see how much money is being dumped into that sheriff's office by Scientology. And, that could be enough in and of itself, showing the actions that they've taken, how they've treated people on the behalf of Scientology, to go to the Attorney General's office, or even go further than that to the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Everybody says, well, you're a retired cop and all. I don't have a problem. If they're doing something illegal, they're doing something wrong, immoral, ethical, anything like that, that looks bad on law enforcement itself, by all means, burn them to the ground.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. And they're clearly showing bias, and Jeffrey says it. Jeffrey and I have said it, being a missing person is not illegal, and they can't force their way in to make them show that he's there, he's healthy and all that. It's private property, and he's been living there for who knows how long. But show some compassion, some consideration, instead of just like, well, I told them if they want to file a PPO, a restraining order, that they can, and if you don't leave, then we're going to come out and we're going to trespass you. I mean, first off, they didn't tell you had to leave.
No, they hadn't even said a bloody word to me. Yeah, it was literally like dead air the whole time. It was dead fucking air from them.
So this is the first notice that you get, and you went there under the direction of a law enforcement officer to the gate, and now that person's calling you and saying, well, you have to leave or you're going to be trespassed. Well, they have to.
Which one is it? You told me to go there and be at the gate. Yeah.
And I don't know about California law, but in Michigan, they have to do some kind of formal notice to you that you are not supposed to be there. And just calling an officer and saying, well, I want him out of here. Well, if I'm that officer, I'm going there and I want them to personally tell you, you are not wanted here. You're not supposed to be here, instead of just doing it all over the phone and making it. The two things. Number one, that looks like laziness to me. I don't want to leave where I'm at. And number two, I'm showing favoritism. So, whoever you were dealing with, they need to be called out on it. And they need, what's that deputy's name? Do you remember?
I don't. I have it written down everywhere. I keep getting told, and it's now written down. I don't. The only officer's name that I fully remember was Officer Miller. Mm-hmm. But it was Corporal. He kept telling me it was Corporal Miller. Mm-hmm. And so it was just one of those things where he was the first real person that, said that he saw my dad, and, didn't give me some bullshit. Oh, he sounded old. Like, so the first one doesn't check. The second one says he sounds old, so it must be him.
See, when I handled things like that, I tried everything I could to make contact with that person, physically go and meet them, see them, confirm who they are. Unless it was someone, there have been times when I had people go, hey, this person's missing. Well, hold on, pull my cell phone out, call them. Hey, what's up? What you doing? You're up north? Okay, cool. I could confirm that because that's someone I personally know. They're in my cell phone. I know their voice. I've known them for years. He doesn't know your dad.
Yep. Doesn't know his voice.
I guarantee you that before that, his phone number wasn't in your dad's cell phone. So, it's either laziness, incompetence, or you are acting on behalf of this organization, or it's all three put together. But one thing about it is that deputy needs to realize, as I said in the beginning, he doesn't work for them. He works for you. He works for society. And he needs to get his focus on what he's supposed to be doing. This is I get really angry when I see, laziness,
cops
like
not
that,
being
those
cops.
kinds of things. Yeah. So it burns
dirty.
me.
Yeah.
I was there. I started off probationary officer and being given every crap job there was and working my way up. So when I got up to the point where I was in charge and the guys were like, you can't really, why are you making me? Because you have to learn humility before you can start being able to be in charge of others. You have to know what it means to follow before you can lead. And these guys doing this, the laziness, all that. I understand society is a whole lot different than it was when I started as a police officer, but our ethics and morals and our obligations and that oath that we swear hasn't changed.
You mean all enemies, foreign and domestic?
Yep, exactly. I swore to uphold the Constitution and serve and protect my community, not, corporate or organizational needs and wants. And it definitely held my career back a few times because I refused to let my ethics or my honor be placed somewhere else just because someone wanted something. No Talk Tony at Liz. I would love to be able to come out to my family for being polyamory and pan, but they would never talk to me again. I can't even be honest about being Wiccan, as they think I'm possessed.
In those situations, like the difficult situation that you're stuck in, here's the question to you. Do you need them to approve of your lifestyle, or do you need approval? Because if you need approval, I got you. I approve. You're amazing. I don't care if you're Wiccan, purple, blue, polyamorous,
Second
single.
that.
I would give you all the support in the world. If there is a chance that you're going to lose your family and you don't, and that is a real belief for you, then I'll give you the approval. I think you're amazing. I don't want you to change at all, and keep your family.
And everyone here will give you the same support.
Yes.
We all believe you. We all believe in you. So it's, as a parent who had a child come out, one of the biggest concerns that my child had was, my father's a Christian. How is he going to handle this? And my standpoint on it is, as a Christian, it's not my position to judge someone. It is my responsibility to share love. So I wish you the best in it, but you've got your support here. You've got two people right here that support you, believe in you, and care about you. So that's let's see. Oh, 55 years old. Also, you're same age I am. So yeah, I agree. You are who you are. They are the ones who are missing out on who you truly are.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you're saying, you're 55 years old. So that means your parents are literally going to be in their 80s and 90s, 70s, possibly 80s, even more than that. Some of those old folks are hard to get to sway. Yeah. They have been entrenched in their belief and what their life is for so long. It's difficult. So I don't, you've got your support here. If you love your parents, you love your family, and you don't want to lose that love, you've got your support here. And there are people who are in your community and around you that will be able to show you just the same love and support. So we understand. It accepts all those children for who they are and how they live. Yeah, you've got it. You said so yourself, Liz. You've got to accept who you are and love, and then everything comes back into place.
Once you realize that you truly love yourself, and I don't mean in the conceited, narcissistic way. Once you really love yourself, then you realize that love isn't what's got to hold you up. You can hold up your own. For lack of better terms, be a Miley Cyrus song and hold your own hand. I love that. I love that fucking song. I don't know. It's so creepy.
Yeah. You've got to be able to love who you are. And then until you love who you are and accept who you are, how can you ever give yourself freely to the person that you want your love, to have your love? So that's, very true. When I was 19, I started taking classes while working full time to become a policewoman. I couldn't continue because I had no control over my work hours. I was idealistic and wanted to protect and serve. Law enforcement is a paramilitary organization, and it runs very staunchly on order and schedule and routine. And so, yeah, that's very, very true of how it is. I believe my wife and I were talking about it, 27 years of working every single Christmas day. But there are a couple of things behind it. Number one, I lived within a quarter mile of the police department. I was getting double time and a half to work Christmas Day. So, for us, it was, we got that big fat paycheck to pay for all them toys we were buying, but I could come home during my shift because we got no calls on Christmas morning. So let's see here. You see any others in there that you want to talk about?
We have Peter Anderson. And then if you can highlight Vanessa's.
Finesses. Oh, right there. Okay.
Always right there.
It keeps jumping on me.
I know, right? So let's see. One more down. I think the question is one more down.
Okay. Oh, yeah. There we go. Peter Anderson.
Yep. So we're going to go Peter Anderson. Liz, are you able to request the body cam footage from the officer? That's what we're trying to do. We're being met with a little bit of a pushback. So, I finally finished the email, and now it's just going to be about making sure that we get the response. So,
Right.
let's see.
And we've been talking about that. We talked about it earlier in the stream. The fact that is a FOIA-able Freedom of Information Act. That's FOIA, FOIA. It shouldn't be. There's nothing in that. And them saying that the case is still open, that's a BS answer. All right. They went there. They believe him to be safe and whole. Case should be closed. It's not a criminal case. So the body cam footage should be released to Liz so that she can see for herself what happened and what was said. What I'm thinking is he may never have even talked to your dad. He talked to someone from Scientology and told him, yeah, he's here. He's fine. Oh, that's him over there. He's over there looking at the flowers. He's very healthy. And okay, cool. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the true reasoning behind it is that they never actually even talked to him. And now they're caught in between a rock and a hard place, and they know somebody's going to get in trouble for what's happened. Yeah. So, and from Miss V, and we still need to get you on here for an interview one-on-one, Miss V. You need to quit playing so coy with us.
Yeah, she likes to play hard to get.
Never do that with a hillbilly and a hunter. We don't stop.
Yeah, but she's from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They know how to dip and swerve.
Yeah, but see, the difference between us hillbillies and other folks is that once we get you, we'll put you in a box under the bed, bring you out to play the GIMP game. So we keep you. We don't kill you.
All right. I did see one question.
Let's see. Thank you, Paula. Liz, how many watch hours do you need?
I think I need, for the first tier, so I'm at 1,500 watch hours.
Okay.
I'm doing the best.
2,500 more.
So there's for the first tier, I need 1,500 more. For the second tier, I need 2,000. Yeah, I need 2,500 to reach the second tier, where they actually, pull and spread your message for you and a little bit more enthusiasm. So, but I'm still working on it. The more lives, the closer I get.
And you won't believe how quickly once you cross that hurdle, it starts building quickly. Literally at the beginning of this year, I had 175 subscribers, and now I'm over 4,000. So I truly give Aaron Smith-Levin, as much credit as all the credit for that, because him bringing me on really blew up my channel. And then it's bringing people like you, Vanessa, Jeffrey, all these different folks on that, are making it that much more interesting. And it's helped my channel to grow substantially. So I'm very happy with it. And you'll see once you cross that hurdle, you'll be there.
Nice.
Trying to see if there's any questions in here. And that's a good point from Amy. They may be afraid of the Scientology lawyers.
It's possible. It's very possible. Everything that's being said is completely possible. Yeah. But you know what? It's, again, for lack of better terms, act like a human being and man up.
It's bad. On the police side of it, it's just bad police, period. All right. Whether you're doing it because that's one of the big things about being a police officer is you can't be afraid. All right. And if you are, you can't show it. You can't let it dictate you. There's been lots of times I've been afraid as a police officer, but I still did my job. I still went out there and did what I had to do. There were times when I was worried, man, if I do this, I could lose my job. Well, you know what? There's enough police departments out there that want good qualified cops. So, let them go ahead and take my job because I did the right thing. I can go on to a better department with better pay. And that's, when my career ended, that was one of the things a lot of people said was, two things were, number one, I'm the most chill police officer they'd ever known. And then number two, I didn't give up my honor and integrity for other reasons. You hear Roscoe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a big dog.
Hold on one second. Lover
No
boy
problem.
is what happened? Did you see a leaf fall? Come on. Roscoe, come.
Yes, I do believe in, sorry, I saw someone says,
Go ahead.
like what you built with Aaron. Aaron is an amazing guy. He's also really busy, and
Yeah.
I have to work that through. If anybody was wondering why, eventually Aaron and I will do another one, and I'll love it. I love the guy. He was the first SPTV channel that I found.
Wow. He, and that's the thing is that if you text him, it may take a day or two for him to get back with you, but he will answer you.
Yeah.
He is, and he will answer questions. He will help you out the best that he can. So that's, he is right now the king of the SPTV world. He's got the biggest audience, and he truly has just a remarkable following, and it spills over into each and every one of the channels. I mean, Lord, his channel's bigger than Leah and Mike's. That'll tell you how big
that's
he is.
crazy.
So, all right. Well, we are at 2 hours, and I think we need to do a part 2.
Okay.
I think
I'll
that
do
we need
another
to do
one.
a part
I will
2.
absolutely
And then
come
we
back
need,
and do it all and be like,
oh yeah, we need
Lord.
to also we need to get this chat-a-thon put together. And as we see, Chad has been working on
I
getting
did
all the
4
backdrops ready.
drawings, Poe. Number 1 is the best one, where it saved Bob, which that's going to happen. It's going to happen immediately. Number 2, I finished the box. Number 3 is the heart.
Ooh,
Number 4, the final one, Poe, is the palm tree.
there we go. So, yeah, there the rainbow palm tree. There we go.
Here we go.
So, all right, Liz. Any parting thoughts before we let these folks get on with their lives?
Okay, so don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash the like, because I always forget that. I'm going to wait till the very end to always say it. Be kind to everybody in the comments, because remember, we are all human. And no, I'm good. You guys have a great night.
Excellent. Chad, you got any burning thoughts?
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Clearwater Chad.
And folks, make sure you get over to Liz's channel. Show that love, show that support, hit the like and subscribe. And let's get her up there to where she crosses that first hurdle and she starts beating that algorithm to death.
Yep.
So there's a lot to digest from what we've been talking about tonight. Every one of my interviews, they go a million ways. And I like it like that, because we don't just get ourselves locked into one thing. But what you've seen is Liz, beyond being what everybody thinks, she's a person. She has love. She has fear. She has anxiety. She has all these things that every one of us has. And just accept her and look at her as a human being, as you do anyone else. You have my full support and love here. I think you're absolutely a fantastic person. You have a long way to go. We all do, but you're going to get there, and you have someone in your life who loves you unconditionally.
Yeah.
And you and I are talking about it privately, has made you look at things differently, made you learn to calm yourself down, learn that this isn't the person I want the person I love to see. I do the exact same thing. Chad does it, except for giving his son tons of ice cream, which he shouldn't be doing, but he does it anyway.
You're like sugar high.
Well, unless you're sending him home to mom, then that's fine. Give him all the sugar you want and boot him out the door. Let's see here. Vanessa. She comes across as so solid all the time, like a beacon of strength. It is easy to forget there's a human being in there who can even break. So much strength in that woman. And I think that's the perfect definition of you. Is you present this strong spirit person. And but there's a heart there. There's a person there. And we all need to know that we have love and we have support. And you do too. And I think this community has got its arms open and welcoming you in 100%. We see you.
Thank you.
And that's what we
we from the community, we see you.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Oh, it's my honor. It's a privilege to be able to do things like this because it makes me grow. It makes me look inward, and it helps me with my love, my interests, my ethics, and my honor. So, and
We all
folks,
stand together.
yes, sir, exactly. So, folks, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you so much for giving up your valuable time to come here and listen to us and hear what we've got to say. And remember, life is short. You get one shot. Make it count.